Hey guys, happy Candle Day 2. So yes, mission accomplished. I went to the store today right at 8 a.m. and I was like, you know what? I'm getting those brioche French toast and hot pink cocoa candles. And sure enough, they were there. They were like in totally abundance. And the stores restocked really well. Like you wouldn't even know like that Candle Day happened yesterday because they pretty much replenished like everything that was out there. Because I went in yesterday right before closing to 2 stores, and both stores were just like completely wiped, like empty shelves everywhere, like people dropping candles and shattered glass, and just like it was just an absolute madhouse at the end of the day yesterday at both stores. I still had to wait in a line at one store just to get in even right before closing. So I was like, oh my god, this is like, people were out in full force shopping for it. So I know there's been a lot of reports of people saying that it's been dead, but I don't know, my stores have been super busy and crazy, at least like, you know, yesterday it was. So then I went in today, and because they hadn't put out any of the hot pink cocoa stuff yesterday, I figured it would be out for today. And sure enough, it was. And the stores were totally replenished. Like all the holiday stuff was all back in stock again. Like there wasn't really anything missing. Like Feliz Navidad was not there. And none of the glass lid candles were out there on the second day. And I would say the only like Candle Day release candle that was gone was Saltwater Breeze at one store. And then the other store maybe only had like 4 of them left. So either Saltwater Breeze is really popular or there's low inventory on them, but all the other body care candles were in full abundance. No one's touching any of the Cosmopolitan and the White Elephant collection, and those were like so many of them. No one was really touching any of those. Sweet Tooth was just so many of them, just totally stocked with all of those. The Four Seasons, yeah, like you could have easily skipped yesterday unless you wanted Saltwater Breeze. You could have easily skipped yesterday and still got everything you wanted, down to like Fresh Balsam, Tree Farm. All the usual favorites were still in stock at both of the stores today. So you could have kind of just like skipped yesterday and just gone in today and also got the hot pink cocoa collection all in one go. One store had the entire All Is Calm, is that what it's called? The Murano collection is the one that we're talking about with the hot pink cocoa and stuff. And then, yeah, there's the quilts and the scenes. One store had quilt, scenes, and Murano, and the other store just had the Murano glass one out. So then at the second store, I did pick up one of the quilt ones, and so we'll get into it. So yeah, that was kind of my experience. I feel like I always lose total self-control on the second day. It's like the second day comes, and I'm just like, bam, like let me just like rebuy another like 14 candles that I don't need. But it's Candle Day, only happens one weekend a year. Although SAS exists as well, which is a similar format. But for Candle Day, they release candles that, you know, you can only get during Candle Day. And the issue with like, specifically like the priority that we're in now is like, they're often like new or unique fragrances that you don't know if they're going to come back or not. They're really not guaranteed to come back. And also, if you don't get it like right now during Candle Day, like if it is indeed popular, like it will just like wipe out like during this weekend, and then you can't find it again. Kind of like Pistachio and Toasted Vanilla, or like the Pink Rose and Leather from last year. It was just kind of like, if you don't get it now, like it might not come back. And then so it's the game of like, how many backups do I buy in case this doesn't return? So I bought multiples, but if I end up not liking any of them, I'll probably just return or exchange them for some of the later priority candles like the Icelandic Water and the Bali Rainforest. If that comes out after Candle Day, then I have an equal value wraparound candle to exchange for that. So that was my logic there, was like, let me buy a few, so if I like them, I have them, if it never comes back out again. But if I don't like them, I can just always exchange them for a later priority candle and call it a day. So let me just lock in the $9.95 price and be done with it. So I had no coupons today. It was just flat out the $9.95, and we did the thing. So let's go right into it. I bought 3 of these. 2 I think I definitely want for sure, and then the third one once again will be whether or not I like it or if it's a return candle. So Brioche French Toast right here. So yeah, Murano glass is what that is supposed to look like. It's a type of glass, as you can see right there. And it has the white sort of matte lid on it, or the cream lid on it. This one's fluffy brioche toast, rich maple syrup, and a dollop of butter sprinkled with cinnamon. These are $26.95. They all have new ILN numbers, so possibly new fragrances, or they've changed the wick or the formula in some way. So let's see, and that's what that looks like right there. Yeah, I like this one. It's interesting. You definitely get the French baguette candle in here, which I appreciate. I don't have any more French baguette in my candle stash, but that one, you know, smells like a baguette. It's like a crusty, salty, buttery bread. It often kind of smells like popcorn as well, but it does distinctly smell like a baguette. And I enjoy that this kind of uses that type of bakery fragrance, which is a little bit more, I would say like savory or more like bready or toasty, rather than just like the kind of like usual blatant pumpkin pecan waffles type of like waffle batter, which I mean, I like pumpkin pecan waffles too, but it gets played out a lot. Like sugar snickerdoodle is similar to that. But this one, like the French toast part actually kind of does smell like French baguette. And I've always wanted French baguette to have a like more gourmand sweet counterpart, and this is kind of that. So you get French baguette in there mixed with a little bit of like a cinnamon dairy action. It gives it a little bit of a creaminess, which is nice in contrast to sort of the crusty baguette note that you get from the French toast. And the maple syrup gives it a little bit of sweetness for sure, and it's not too far off from the maple syrup you would get from like pumpkin pecan waffles, but it's nowhere near as cloying as the maple that we would get in like something like pumpkin French toast, which I love this one. Probably the strongest candle from Bath & Body Works, at least in my experience. I mean, once again, this candle, if you light it for an hour, it will get in your bags, it will get in your belongings, your purse, your hair, your clothes, like everything. Like you will go to work and you will smell like it. It's just so immensely strong. Like this and butterscotch toffee are one of those that just like seep into everything, that is just crazy. But we had this one, loved it. 2250 back in 2016, warm maple syrup, pumpkin spice, and caramelized brown sugar. Oh my god, this is just so much more strong and intense. That maple syrup and the brown sugar are so heavy and so syrupy and just crazy. This one also has a little bit of that sort of like spoiled milk dairy component that you would expect in a French toast, but a lot of people didn't enjoy it because the sort of like, it's that sort of like sour cheesecake fragrance that a lot of people didn't like from pumpkin spice cheesecake. That mixed with a slightly like burnt toast note was present in this, but I really loved it, but it is not this. It's nowhere near as like cloying and strong and just like balls to the walls maple like suffocate you as this. So it is not pumpkin French toast. Yeah, I would say French baguette mixed with like, it's almost just like the sort of like the spices and the maple syrup of pumpkin pecan waffles mixed with French baguette, and that's kind of how this comes off, and I enjoy it. It's like a fun blend, and it seems like unique, and like once again it's one of those like weird Bath & Body Works bakery fragrances that don't necessarily smell like something like exactly in real life, but it has that like Bath & Body Works charm to it where it smells like a Bath & Body Works candle. Oftentimes like Homeworks candles, like their cinnamon French toast actually kind of smells like really like you're having cinnamon French toast. Whereas this is like, you know, the candle version of it, but I like the sort of charm and quality that Bath & Body Works candles have in terms of them. Like they're synthetic or artificial sometimes, but not necessarily in a bad way, just in like a traditionally Bath & Body Works way that I really enjoy. So brioche French toast right there. We'll see how that does, but we have 3 just in case. Moving on, we have, I really enjoyed this one too, white chocolate macadamia right here, and that's what that looks like. The notes on this read chewy cookie with crunchy macadamia nuts and white chocolate chips. This one has the flat curling wicks. The brioche French toast one had the core wicks on it. I really enjoyed this one too. Somebody in my life was saying it smelled like a stale Walmart cookie, and like a lot of people were really like not loving this, and of course like you're totally entitled to that opinion. But I actually really enjoy it. I guess because I was set up with it being so like terrible and like a flat stale cookie from Walmart, I was expecting the worst. But it's like, girl, this isn't anything as bad or terrible as like those Scentworks advent calendar candles that I had. I mean, if you want flat, cheap, like just boring Big Lots grocery store candles, like girl, go sniff some Scentworks. Like at least Bath & Body Works, this like has character to it and it has like depth to it, whereas like those Scentworks candles are so flat and one-dimensional. Like that smells like a cheap Walmart candle or a stale Walmart cookie. This actually has enough going on with it where it's like, once again, it's like it has character to it rather than being a flat one-dimensional like waxy candle. And I'm not really sure what I'm smelling, but you do get a buttery nuttiness in here that I guess could almost smell like popcorn, but you know how a lot of times like their nut fragrances have that sort of like popcorn kernel nut type of fragrance to it? I get that in there. And then there's some kind of like, I mean, there could almost be coconut in here just because a lot of times like, you know, you might have like a macadamia coconut. It has like that sort of like slightly tropical bakery feel to it. Yeah, there could almost be coconut in here mixed with like a like creamy vanilla white chocolate component to it, but it smells buttery, but it's not overly nutty in like a burnt popcorn type of way, but it has like some like resemblance of like a macadamia nut chilling in the background. And there's something slightly spiced about it as well. I guess that's just like maybe the baking spices. But yeah, when I do smell it, I mean, it could obviously be power suggestion, but when I smell it, could I imagine a white chocolate macadamia cookie? Absolutely, yeah. I enjoy this one. I'm really excited to burn this one and see how it does. It doesn't smell like anything we've had before, like exactly. Like it's certainly not chocolate chip cookie right here. This is more similar to that crunchy English toffee that we have right now, where it has that sort of the caramel and chocolate and brown sugar blend to it. It's not this, because like this doesn't have like regular like cocoa chocolate, and it doesn't really have like the heavy brown sugar that this has, or the caramel. But yeah, I enjoy this. It's like nutty, slightly spicy, and has like a sort of like coconutty, buttery, crumbly component to it. Yeah, I'm excited to see how that one does. So white chocolate macadamia right there. Moving on, let's see. I bought 2 of these just because it was nice, and I wouldn't mind having a backup in case it never comes back out again, but it wasn't as like, oh my god, bakery awesome as the other 2 that I just hauled. So we have hot pink cocoa right here. Sweet ruby chocolate, whipped vanilla cream, and raspberry sprinkles. This one has the Corwix on it as well. This one, a lot of people were saying it smells like pink fairy gumdrop, and I agree. It has a huge emphasis on that pink fairy gumdrop slash, was it raspberries and whipped vanilla? Was it the same one? There's just so many candles, like, it's just hard to keep track of them. But there's like raspberries and whipped vanilla, but like pink fairy gumdrop, like that type of fragrance. That artificial raspberry candy jam fragrance is in here. We had the Be Mine Candy Hearts fragrance too, like that type of candy raspberryness with a little bit of this sort of like stale powdery cocoa dryness to it. It's not super rich, it's not like a dark chocolate, it's not creamy. There's definitely like a dry powdery component that's coming from the cocoa, but there's a creaminess still from that, so that raspberries and whipped vanilla type of blend that's in here. But overall it does smell artificial, but in a very Bath and Body Works type of way. I'll just have to see. It's very much a like Valentine's Day candle for sure. So if you want like a Valentine's Day candle, hot pink cocoa would do that. In comparison to other fragrances we've had before, it is not cherry mocha. That was more cherry, and I feel like the mocha and the cocoa in that was a little bit more strong and prominent. We also have the dark chocolate truffles, positively sweet, from the Valentine's Day collection. I love this candle. This one was rich chocolate, gooey butterscotch, and candied cherry. Yeah, this one's just totally more sophisticated and just has more layers going on here. The chocolate is darker and richer. It's not that powdery, stale, like cocoa packet quality to it. You get a little bit of that, like, was it like that sort of like cherry sweetness in here that's not as quite as like obviously like artificial candy as the raspberry and vanilla that we got in hot pink cocoa. And this one also has a little bit of that sort of nuttiness that evokes like the entire variety of chocolate truffles. So it is not this. I think on cold I prefer this one more in terms of like it's just a little bit more nuanced and I guess I don't want to say sophisticated, but a little bit more representative of like nice boxes of chocolate rather than a cheap hot cocoa packet. And then lastly, I knew it wouldn't be this, but you know, one could keep hope. Chocolate Rose Macaron from that like COVID collection that was like on for like a few hours, online exclusive. Oh my god, I snagged 2 of these. At first I ragged on it and I hated it, but the more and more I burned the first one, I really fell in love with it, and I just have this lone single one here that I haven't burned yet. Oh my god, I love this one. Creamy chocolate, rose petals, and crispy macaron cookie. Like, yeah, this could be hot pink cocoa for sure, but it's not. Oh my god, I love this. Yeah, totally different, totally different. This is once again a lot more layered. It has that like almost like powdery floral that's not really a rose, but there's some just an extra sophistication and prettiness to it. And the chocolate is a lot richer and heavier than it is in hot pink cocoa. Oh man, they could have just repackaged this, and I would have been so happy about that. Yeah, and this was so strong and such a great performer too. It is not Chocolate Rose Macaron, unfortunately. Yeah, in comparison between like these two and even the truffle one, This is so much stronger on that pink fairy gumdrop raspberries and with vanilla type of like that candy raspberry artificial quality to it. And the chocolate comes very secondary. It's just nowhere near as rich and heavy in chocolate as the other two I was talking about. So that's hot pink cocoa there. In comparison, I'm a little bit more meh about this than I was in the store, but we'll see how it does. So that was that right there. And lastly from that collection, we have Caramel Frappuccino. And I was like, girl, this is just going to be a white caramel cold brew or aka whipped coffee that it got repackaged as afterwards. And then it could maybe potentially be caramel brulee latte, but probably not. And so we have Caramel Frappuccino as the last one in that collection. This one's rich cold brew coffee, frothy milk, and sweet caramel syrup blended with ice. Like, I mean, if that doesn't sound just like white caramel cold brew, I don't know what does. And it does indeed smell just like white caramel cold brew. It's a super milky caramel fragrance. It's like caramel syrup with milk is what you get from it. Kind of like just the coffee is very secondary. Like I always make the analogy of those like International Delights, like the fake coffee that you get in the carton that's in like the refrigerated section of the grocery store. And it's like vaguely coffee-ish, but not really like roasting espresso beans in an espresso machine. Not at all like that. Or like if you were to spill coffee on the counter and you clean it up and you get the residual coffee smell afterwards. That's the amount and level of coffee that you get in this. Yeah, but it like there's a hint of it enough that it evokes a slight coffee undertone. But like think of once again like the coffee flavored syrup that we use rather than richly brewing espresso beans like you would find in Paris Cafe. That's the amount of coffee you get in this. But this smells literally just like white caramel cold brew / whipped coffee. We have whipped coffee right here. Love this packaging. Shot of espresso, whipped sweet cream, and sugar crystals. Yeah, this one's so burnt and disgusting now that I can't give it a good comparison. The issue with white caramel cold brew and whipped coffee was that it would always, I mean, do you see how dirty and disgusting that is? I mean, I would just trim this to small nubs and I couldn't get this to perform properly. This one also has Corwix on it, but it interestingly has a new ILN on it. So that's the only thing that's like, okay, why is that happening? But I think white caramel cold brew had the flat curling wicks and whipped coffee had the core wick. So that was caramel frappuccino right there. If you missed whipped coffee or white caramel cold brew, now's your chance to snag it. That was it for the main thing. Moving on. Oh, one last thing on brioche French toast. It has slight reminiscence to this, but it is not this, so don't get too excited. But we have the apple cardamom and crisp. This had a like French baguette mixed with like spices note to it, so it has a slight reminiscence to it, but this is so much more like, has more almost like an apple cinnamon type of quality to it. It doesn't have the appliness of this, but it has a similar like baguette plus spice note from the apple cardamom crisp. And once again, that was in comparison to brioche French toast. Okay, now that's out of the way, just a few stragglers. I found the All Is Calm Quilts collection. We have Cuddle Weather. Contemplated that for a moment, but Cozy Sunday Evening or whatever it's called is just the superior fragrance in my opinion, and I have two of those, so I didn't need that. Cozy Cashmere, don't need that. And then Linen Sheets is the last one. I believe this is just a repackage of Pure White Cotton from back in the day, which was also that friggin' deceptive, like, there was like a Gardenia vanilla pink candle or something, and I was like, ooh, I would love a Gardenia vanilla fragrance, and it was just friggin' Pure White Cotton. I was like, what in the hell is this? But it's that also that obscure pink candle. It was a 3-wick candle. But I was skeptical about this one because Pure White Cotton did list Gardenia petals in the notes from Bath & Body Works. But I was like, it is pink. Yeah, they're both L brands, but you wouldn't think the same exact 100% repackage would exist from Bath & Body Works to pink, but I was wrong, and this is where everything goes downhill. So, I smell this. This is exactly 100% Pure White Cotton. Like, if you are thinking of buying these candles, please do not. You can buy Pure White Cotton or, like, you know, Sea Island Cotton, same kind of scent, at Bath & Body Works, you know, with a coupon during a 2 for $24 and get out much cheaper, not have to pay for shipping or anything like that. Unless you're just like a die-hard pink fan from Victoria's Secrets and just wanted to have this packaging no matter what. And also happen to really enjoy the Pure White Cotton scent. That is the only way I could think of anyone wanting this, is if you're a die-hard like pink collector by some chance. I'm not, because obviously I don't wear or buy any of the stuff from Pink. Fresh Ocean Air, Anjou Pear, Violet Petals, and Warm Vanilla. Yeah, I like this. Oh my god, this takes me back to that pure white cotton era. Oh my gosh, back in the other house. Yeah, wow. Oh my god. Yeah, this is just very nostalgic. It's like a sweet, creamy version of their like cotton and sheets and fresh linens and Laundry Day fragrances. It's not as harsh and sharp as Laundry Day, which is like so soapy and intense. And like Fresh Sheets is maybe a little bit, is it called Fresh Sheets? I think. Is more crisp. This one's the softest, powderiest, and creamiest version of all of those linen cotton fragrances. And I just haven't had this for so long. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me try that. So linen sheets right there. Let's see, what else did I get? Oh, I don't think I really saw Ice Winter Balsam at the first store, but the second store I saw it, and I was like, you know what? I actually really enjoy this candle. And in the event, it's just like one of those candles you expect to come back, but it doesn't. I was like, let me just grab another one because I know this version performs so well. I really enjoy this one. Frozen eucalyptus, sugared pine, and fresh balsam. I said in my previous video, it's kind of like if you took sugared lemon zest / lemon drop / limoncello and shoved it in with fresh balsam. It gives it like this vibrant, crisp, refreshing, invigorating feel to it that I really enjoy. And I kind of like all the variations of balsam, so I got that one just as a backup. When I saw that Saltwater Breeze was selling out everywhere, I was like, you know what? This label just grinds my gear because like the other wraparound label already exists. The file exists. They've already printed it before. Like this has had a wraparound label. But once again, I think the decision on why they purposely make these like cheap and just a square label is so they can put at the $24.95 price point. Whereas like In the Stars and Japanese Cherry Blossom, like those stay online as online exclusives. And they don't like want to, I guess, do the whole candle day exchanges and want to keep it at this price point. I don't know. So, but nonetheless, it's a great fragrance and I really enjoy it. Fresh linen, violet leaves, and white water blossom. So I was like, let me just get one just in case this never comes back again. And so I have the original beautiful wraparound label that I guess I will keep and then burn this one instead. This one, I kept like hemming and hawing over it last night, and I was like, you know what, let me just get in and call it a day, because it only really comes out only during this time, and it is indeed Paris Cafe. I mean, I prefer this over freshly brewed coffee. A lot of people enjoy freshly brewed coffee because it's not quite as intense, but girl, choke me out. So I want the most intense. So I was like, you know what, let me just get Paris Cafe, because freshly brewed coffee just isn't as bold and like strong as Paris Cafe is. Rich roasted coffee, sugared brioche, and vanilla creme. It has the flat curling wicks on it. When I was like emptying out my car, it smelled like coffee inside my entire car, and that was indeed from Paris Cafe. This is one of those where like if you put it in your candle closet, the entire candle closet will smell like this candle without it lit. So it's that strong. It's truly one of the strongest fragrances from Bath & Body Works. So I like Paris Cafe. Freshly brewed coffee is just like the sort of more weaker, less intense variation of Paris Cafe. But this one has that sort of like crispy like brioche note that can like send it over the top that some people get nauseous from. So that's that right there. And lastly, yesterday some lady was just like throwing all the tree farms, just like clearing it out and putting it into her basket and saying how much she loved it. And I was like, oh my god, what? And then I came home and I realized that I had used up my one tree farm and finished it just very recently. And I was like, you know what? I really actually enjoy Tree Farm too. And like this packaging is so friggin' adorable that like I'll probably eventually buy it again next year. But let me just buy it now for $9.95 in this confirmed cute packaging and just call it a day. So that's what I did right there. I just love the contrast of that beautiful light green with the storybook label on it and the cute lights lid. Oh my god, love that. Crisp pine needle, warm cedar, and spiced apple. And somebody was leaving a comment saying if they had to pick one, would they do Fresh Balsam or Tree Farm? And I was like, I think I would still pick Fresh Balsam because I appreciate that one a little bit more, but like you really can't go wrong with either. Tree Farm just has a sweeter, sappier apple note, and it's a little bit more juicy and sweet than Fresh Balsam is, where Fresh Balsam is a little bit more rustic and crisp with like that sort of pine needle, like sort of tree fragrance to it. But both are quite nice and pleasant, so I was like, let me get it, since like Tree Farm is just like surrounding my brain capacity at this point with all the questions and actions around it. So I just got a Tree Farm and call it a day. And that was my whopping haul. Yeah, I lost all self-control. And with these like Murano glass ones, you just don't know if it's ever gonna come back out again, and they're like juicy bakery fragrances, and I just lose it. So I have multiples of those, but once again, if they turn out to be crap, I will exchange them for a later priority candle. And I think that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you found these candles in your store, all your thoughts and comments down below, and what your day 2 experience was, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.